We are very lucky in education that there are now millions of videos available on things like YouTube and Vimeo and other video sharing sites that we can use in our education without us having to go and create our own videos. Now, the easiest thing for somebody to do is to copy the link of one such video and then just add it directly to a Moodle course as a link. But there's a couple of disadvantages to that, and that's what I've done here. But if I click on the link, first of all, you'll see it's going to play an advert before the video. And then secondly, I've got a whole load of distractions. I've got all of these distractions down the right hand side, which will be either adverts or suggestions of other videos. And then there may be comments. In this case, there aren't, but there could be like a discussion thread going on. And some of the discussions that take place, unfortunately, are not very savoury. They may have quite offensive language or offensive ideologies, and it's not ideal that we're pointing students to them. The second issue with just linking to a YouTube video is it actually becomes a passive form of learning. People think that because it's video, it has to be, oh, it's video, it's active. It's not. It's actually quite passive. They're just watching the video. And to be honest, if it's more than a few minutes long, they're likely to sort of drift off and not pay attention. So what I like to do is I like to take the video and I like to turn it into an activity. And one of the easiest activities to turn it into is a discussion activity. So what I've got here is a forum, and I'm asking a question. I'll just bring it up in a new tab so it's loaded quicker. So I've got a question, and I'm basically asking them to identify the advantages and disadvantages of the techniques that I'm introducing in the video. And they watch the video thinking about the question that I've asked them, and then there'll be a button here to start the forum. I don't have it because I've already created one. And so once they've watched the video, they then answer the question, and then they can see what other responses other students have put. So the way that we would achieve this is we need to first of all embed the video. Now the way you embed in YouTube is you go to the share button, you find the embed option, we then copy that code that's there, and then within the activity, in this case it's a forum, we type in our question. So that's my question that's been typed in. Once I've typed that in, I then need to find the edit HTML source button. Now in my case it appears on the top row of icons. On yours it may be on a different row, but it's usually those two kind of open and close brackets symbols. And then all you do is you paste that embed code after your question, click on update, and it will then appear as it does here. Now you'll notice under forum type, this will probably default to say standard forum for general use, which is fine, that would still work, but you've actually got 5 different options. And if you click on the question mark, it will tell you what each of those options are. Now I personally will often use the each person posts one discussion option, or I will use the Q&A forum for this particular type of activity. And it's a bit of trial and error. Try both, see how they work, and then see which one you think works best for your situation. You've then got your usual forum settings. I won't go through those in detail, but one thing to note is you've got a whole forum grading option. Now this came in a couple of years ago, and it's quite useful because what you can do is you can actually set it so that the teacher has to grade each student a bit like as if it was an assignment. Now I've done this and I've set it so that the grading is going to use a scale, and I've got a scale set up that has 2 items, not completed and completed. And then I've set my grade to pass to be the number 2. Now the reason it's number 2 is because it's a 2-point scale. If I grade somebody as not completed, they would get a 1. If I grade them as completed, they would get a 2. And therefore the grade to pass is 2. You could set up ratings. That's where you can get students to rate each other's posts or teachers to rate the other posts, and then you could use that as part of the kind of the final grading sort of mechanism. But the grading is the much easier way of doing it. And then we can specify an activity completion. Now in this case, it's just set to student must post 1 reply or discussion, but it will also incorporate the grade to pass as part of that. So if I was to save and display, I'll come back to here. Now you can see here I've got 1 discussion that I've started, and if I go back to the home page, you'll see that I'm currently showing as not complete. I've got a cross, but if I go back into the item, If I wanted to grade users, I click on that. It will then have a list of all of the different users. And at the moment, there's only myself that's in here. And I can change the grades here. So I can make it graded as completed. Click on save. If I go back to the course, you'll see that that is now showing as a tick because that item has been completed. So rather than just linking to lots of YouTube videos or Vimeo videos, turn them into some sort of activity. In this case, I've gone for a forum-based activity because it's very easy to set up, but it can be a very powerful form of learning. I'm Dave Foord. If you wish to get in touch, then please look at my contact details on the screen. I'm based in the UK, but I work with organisations all over the globe, providing consultancy, training and resource development services, mainly in the areas of Moodle and Tatara.